Hello, my name is Dr. Kelli Uitenham. This presentation was created in collaboration with Terese Grimmett. Today, we will be talking to you about transformative learning theory. First, we'd like to give you some general information. When you think about transformative learning theory as a concept, think about a butterfly. Butterflies are the universal symbol for transformation. They enter the chrysalis as a caterpillar and emerge as a more vibrant and more multifaceted version of themselves. Transformative learning theory encourages growth in not just mindset but in perspective as a component of learning. It produces professionals who are clinically competent, compassionate, and empathetic. Learning cannot be guaranteed. Teachers can only provide opportunities for transformative learning to take place. It is up to the student to fully participate and submit to the process. There are two components to transformative learning theory. When taking a look at these side by side, you can tell they conflict with each other. The first component consists of characteristics, which are cognitive, rational, and objective. The second component consists of characteristics which include intuitive, imaginative, and subjective. Component 1 and Component 2 are both necessary for appropriate learning to take place using the process of this theory. We'll delve a bit deeper into this later in the presentation. There are three dimensions of transformative learning theory. They are convictional, psychological, and behavioral. The convictional dimension deals with the changing of the belief system. This is the most challenging for most people because we tend to be very attached to our own beliefs and perspectives. In this dimension, students are responding to ideas that are shared. They start to consider other perspectives. Psychological dimension deals with changes and understanding of self. Here, students take their new considerations and their minds start to change regarding their own perspectives. They have started to take on and consider a new perspective. In the behavioral dimension, there is a change in lifestyle. This is where the actions and practices of the student change because of their new perspective. The role of the educator in assisting students to navigate all three dimensions is crucial. They are the center of this process. Instructors assist the learner in becoming aware and critical of their own assumptions. This includes their own assumptions that led to the interpretations, beliefs, habits of mind, or points of view, as well as their assumptions about others. Instructors also provide practice in redefining problems from different perspectives. They establish an environment that builds trust and care and facilitates the development of sensitive relationships among learners. The instructor functions as a role model by demonstrating a willingness to learn and change. They set objectives that include autonomous thinking. They also need to provide opportunities for students to participate in discourse. This discourse involves assessing beliefs, feelings, and values. The educator must encourage equal participation among students in discourse. One strategy is to encourage procedures that require group members to take on the roles of monitoring the direction of dialogue and ensuring equal participation. The transformational learning theory has a long history in the field of adult education. Jack Mesereau developed transformative learning theory starting in 1978. It has since evolved into what has been quoted as a comprehensive and complex description of how learners construe, validate, and reformulate the meaning of their experience. Over the years, a number of responses to this theory have emerged. For the purpose of this presentation, we'll compare Mesereau to John Drix's approach. Drix's approach is also known as the emancipatory approach. It is based on the realization that passive listening and acceptance of facts kept students disenfranchised. Using this approach, students discuss and reflect on relevant life issues. Through this process, one can recognize the larger societal structures that oppressed them and how they could overcome these barriers. All of this happens through a process. This happens through the process of consciousness raising. The learners come to see the world and their own place in it differently. Learners are then empowered in their new perspective. As a result, they can act to transform their world. Let's take a look at Mesereau. Mesereau's perspective is a cognitive rational approach. It is also known as perspective transformation. This perspective concentrates on the importance of rational thought and reflection. This occurs through a process as well. This process consists of disorienting dilemma, critical reflection, and reflective discourse. In disorienting dilemma, the students focus on a personal crisis. In critical reflections, the learners reevaluate the assumptions they have made about themselves and their world. This happens when people realize something is not consistent with what they hold to be true. Reflections on their meaning perspectives or their overarching structure of assumptions can result in a perspective transformation or change in worldview. In reflective discourse, the learners talk with each other about their new perspective to obtain consensual validation. They then take action. They start living the new perspective, which is necessary for the process to be completed. When it comes to the transformative learning theory, there are a few things we'd like you to remember and consider. First, this theory asserts that adult education should lead to empowerment. Second, knowledge is not out there to be discovered, but it is created from interpretations and reinterpretations in light of new experiences. Third, keep in mind that fostering a safe learning environment is critical if learners are expected to have an authentic and meaningful transformation of mindset and perspective. For that to happen, there has to be ground rules in place. As with any social, academic, of social situation, mutual respect should be demonstrated. You are not expected to abandon what you believe or know, but you should remain flexible in your thinking so you can comprehend and consider other perspectives to learn new concepts and synthesize information. Confidentiality should be maintained at all times when discussing cases and individuals with whom you have worked. This includes patients, clients, parents, and even other staff members. Hearing others' perspectives is not enough. Come prepared to listen with intention of learning. Pay attention. Practice active listening skills. It is okay to differ in points of view. After all, we are individuals and will not always find common ground. In this event, we should refrain from personal attacks. Show respect to the speaker by not interrupting or by asking permission to interject. Having conversation regarding topics about which we are passionate will undoubtedly result from time to time. If this happens, be mindful of your volume and tone. Finally, what happens in the group stays in the group. Now, we get to application of the principles of this learning theory. Action plans and reflective activities provide the practice and modeling of critical reflection on the profession of education and provide guidance for the teaching and learning experience. Case studies provide the opportunity to analyze assumptions as well as the consequences of choices and actions. The use of case studies focuses on practice and on the philosophical and practical aspects of educators' practice. Curriculum development creates the opportunity to connect theory and practice. In addition to introducing new teaching techniques, teachers and facilitators can test and compare new concepts and practices with previous techniques. This kind of side-by-side comparison is a deviation from uncritically accepting new teaching methods. Critical theory discussions can be implemented to guide educators in questioning the meaning and purpose of information. This encourages educators to question the selection of the information they provide to their students. Well, we hope you enjoyed this presentation as much as we enjoyed preparing it for you.